Hey, so this is chapter 7, which is creativity. And before I get into this, I want to separate this chapter because it's so poignant and it hits home for me. It really does. It has creativity has such significance for me. Look behind me, right? Like look at my art. It's absolutely obvious as to why and why I get one of the reasons that I have so much anger at the world at large and at humanity, and how I'm incapable of resolving these conflicts because other people just don't want to listen. They just don't want to look themselves in the mirror and go through the painful exercise of introspection and the years and years of toiling away in solitude and in confidence of the self. I've worked so hard on myself and my art. Like no one was there. Basically, no one was there to encourage me, and the rejections that I faced over the years, in this creative pursuit, to hone my craft and to learn a trade and to face all the challenges that I faced, and the rejection and the protectionism and the jealousy and the hate and the ignorance of other people within our society, because of idealistic or political differences that seek to divide us, as is the pattern of speech, or that a politician might say, or that say like a spiritual leader would say. Our pursuit to holistics, but I don't seek to be whole. I seek to destroy. I seek to ruin and to kill the Leviathan, the monster that we all have to face in our own lives. In order to create something new and wonderful, and to achieve, something beautiful. And what I'm going to say is, don't hate me for being beautiful and for the amount of work that I put into myself. Hate me for being right. Hate me for being correct in these observations and my opinions. Because, as I've said in other videos, and I didn't want to relate this to the history of propaganda, but here we are. Propaganda is weaponized artwork, and marketing is propaganda light. And there are so few mysteries on the internet, and in the library, right? The values store of human intelligence, knowledge, and wisdom. Not everything is on the internet. Not all truths can be found in front of a computer screen, or in front of or inside of a confessional booth. Not all truths, again, I wanted to say dashboard confessional because, it's just two people. And, I used to like them, that group, in passing, just like your youthful identifications and associations when you're developing your personality, after youthful rebellion and becoming an integrated person away from your parents and the sheltering of your own family. So, creativity is essential to life. You cannot, and especially me, I cannot go through life being a steady plodder. I just can't. There's just people out there like me that cannot tolerate the 9 to 5 same repetitive routine over and over and over again, and be content with that. There's just no way in hell. I would rather be free than be enslaved. And that's the end of it. So, I'm going to say some things that's going to seriously anger some people in response to this chapter of creativity. And I've made some notes here. They might even claim, my critics might even claim that I'm bigoted or that I'm phobic, and I'm not. I'm not going to get into personal details again, but I've suffered just as much as other people have suffered, and I've had people take advantage of me, and so on and so forth. But it's not important to this video. So go and watch the other videos, all 400 of them that I've uploaded so far, or 420, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's not like much of anybody watches this stuff anyways. I'm just yelling, I'm just screaming into the void, and the people right now, I think it's 57 people, are receptive enough to take what I have to say with a grain of salt. Okay. So the client in chapter 7 is a young woman, and she has this psychosomatic condition, which I'm not gonna spoil, because I encourage you to read this book. It evokes such feeling in me that prevents her from having a fulfilling relationship with her husband. But again, she's very young. I sympathize with her because of the story, the same old story of, a conservative Christian background, ministry, and missionary pursuit, or life and transient nature, never feeling solidified or having roots anywhere because of childhood of moving around, and a life of moving around, not having an identity associated with the landscape or with a geographic location, and the anxiety and the insecurity that comes from that, because there's no comfort. It's always where's the threat, right? What do I have to look after now? And nothing is predictable. I can't predict as to what's going to happen, or if things are going to stay in the same place. So I don't necessarily have any confidence in my life, that sort of mentality. And she wants children, but there's something in the way, right? And I feel like that, as I've gotten older. I want children. I do. I want children. I'll get into that in a second, like after I go through all these points. Because I didn't always feel like that. Opening up has a completely different context and duality of meaning for a woman. Fear and stress is referenced in This Changes Everything by Naomi Klein. Interferes with fertility and with intercourse, coitus. Creating a new intimate relationship is simultaneously terrifying and exhilarating. But again, I'm going to correlate this because this particular thing, the things that interfere with creativity are the doldrums of routine, slavery, and predictability. What else am I going to say? And also burnout. That burnout is the writer's block, is the greatest killer of expression and creativity. And sexuality is creativity, right? Art is sexual. It is. That's, I've said this before, I want women to feel, I want you to feel something when you look at my art. I want to, ideally give people that rush, that the pins and needles, that spooky orgasm, um, as a direct relationship with me as the creator of these pieces of art. I hope that they mean something to the observer, and that they can derive, some sort of meaning and relevance to their own lives. Like, that's the best art in the world, is if it can do that. That means everything, right? Without emotion, life is dead. There is no joie de vivre. There is no point in living altogether, right? But conversely, on the other side, when there's too much, gluttony breeds contempt, not familiarity. Um, Reproductive anxiety, a sense of responsibility, and the dread of failure. That's what that Rosie. That's what she's feeling, and I kind of feel that too, because I'm the youngest man in my family. I have two older sisters. My eldest sister has a young boy. He's 12 years old, somewhere around there now. And I help foster him at times through his childhood. But I was always been at arm's length, and like I don't, because our culture at this very moment, like, say, backdated from retroactively from the recording, so 2023, um, has been suicidal and anti-child. Absolutely. There's these conflicting and aggressive and malicious social movements that wish to destroy in order to displace and create a new world order, as some people like to call it, right? Or in the guise of the newer conspiracy theories, or conspiracy realities of the Great Reset, and so on and so forth. These different envisionings of humanity and social structures and society. Okay, so the reproductive anxiety is just like, I don't know, like, oh, when you're young, people in older generations, and before, say, me as millennial, didn't care. They didn't have the dilemma or the freedoms that come from birth control or prophylactics, right? They just went around fucking each other, and they didn't care as to whose child. Well, they did, but they didn't really care at a certain point, out of ignorance, as to whose child they were raising. The whole redheaded stepchild scenario. It's like, well, he's in the family now. What can I do about it? I already have 4 or 5 other children. So what do I care about if my wife had stepped out on me, and had an affair with someone else? I was doing that too, Depravity and degeneracy has always been a part of humanity. Those are the things that we have to keep an eye on. This ratio between freedom and responsibility. So there's never really a good time to have children, just like there's never a good time to go to prison or to join the military. Fuck it. Take the risk and sort it out after. That's the thrill of living, right? If I thought about too much about the risk of whether or not it was going, my art was going to meet my expectations, then I would have never, the paralysis, I would have never begun the journey to finish something in the first place. And it always turns out completely different, but far more impressive than I ever thought it would be in the first place. In reality, doesn't meet the expectation. It just becomes something more, and it has its own life. And that's the essence of creativity. That's the satisfaction out of it. Let the psychopaths keep running their mouths. There's always going to be critics. There's always going to be haters. Other people only have as much control over your life and desires as you give them. Take control and prove them wrong, because the majority of the time they are wrong. They don't live your life, right? Next political point, all sex is rape, is fucking stupid and psychotic, right? There's so much of these political movements that come from a position of trauma and come from a position of insecurity and of manipulation and quite frankly, mental illness that is masked as intellectual circle jerking. It's just a bunch of psychobabble fucking bullshit. It really is. It meant to put you to sleep and then make you submissive. And if you fall for that stuff, that's your fucking problem, because you didn't listen and you didn't see the red flags, right? To use the terminology. Wanting new is creative. Yes, absolutely. I enjoy having a blank canvas and starting. I don't have the choice. I don't have the choice paralysis anymore, because I don't put this cornucopia of this ADD, attention deficit, market of choice in front of me. What's the point? Just commit to something. Just commit to something. Right? Make it good. Make it count. If you're gonna take that shot, be prepared for bullets to fly back at you. It's unhealthy to be preoccupied. Right? Life goes on with or without our participation. Right? It's unhealthy to be preoccupied with the negatives as if you have a clairvoyant view into the future, but it's happening right in front of you with a flash of lightning. Just the same old wisdom, the same old idioms. It can change in a flash. Life changes. You're dead. One wrong move and my back gets thrown out. Like I'm perfectly mobile now, but 2 days ago I couldn't even roll over, and even this morning it was still excruciatingly painful to roll over in bed. To the point for which, I wouldn't want to experience again, and now I have more caution, but I'll probably, I'll keep on pushing the limit to see how far and how capable I really am as a person. All right. Insufferable victimhood worrywarts. That's another preoccupation, a neuroses that originates from undealt with traumas, and the hopelessness and the anger of being taken advantage of, because after a certain point in time, there's nothing you can do about it. You're not angry. You're not just angry at the person that did it to you, or the organization, or the society, the mechanisms that put you in that place, but you're angry at yourself for not doing anything about it sooner. Because, you could have done something, and you might have been hurt, or you might not have been hurt, and, there's that, the hopelessness. What if nothing comes of it? But you don't know unless you yell, you kick and scream until screaming bloody murder until something happens, right? Until something changes. Because if you don't do anything about it, it'll just persist. It'll just keep on happening. It's entirely up to you to take control. It's fucking obvious. You're going to die anyway, and there's little point in attempting to live in a fortress of suffering and grievances. Insecurity and anger are symptoms of unresolved trauma inflicted on people who had no part in their inspiration. So figure it out, Grow the fuck up. Maladjustment to the world at large is due to hyperprotective parenting that inhibits independence and personal growth. So helicopter parents. It inspires neuroses and passive-aggressive behavior. We cannot preserve innocence at all costs because the basis of innocence is ignorance. That's my insight. You can't have innocence without ignorance. If you don't know it's there, right, then you can't acknowledge it, right? You don't have the intellectual capacity or the cognizance to deal with that, right? The porcupine principle is a behavior of the weak. It is emotionally suicidal. So much gilded anger and mistrust, and an inability to deal with change, which, I don't like change very much either. I really don't, but life just happens with or without your participation. It's a hard truth, but that is the reality of it. We can't just go through life expecting everyone else to conform to our ideas and our idealisms of creativity and expression. The fear of inflicting generational trauma is entirely a paradox because you'll inflict potential harm in an attempt to avoid or arrest the cycle. Let the child figure it out themselves, right? If you're going to create new life, and give them the rules to understand the boundaries. Let them know that that there's a reason why the scientific method exists. There's a reason why the laws of thermodynamics exist, because someone did the work, and someone dedicated their entire existence to figuring that out, so that others may prosper, and so that we may prosper together, right? And this is the part. This is going to be the part that a lot of people, a bunch of people, the snowflakes are not going to like very much. The conform. The funniest thing. I'm going to reference South Park. You're so nonconformist and so unique and different that it's for inclusivity, right? It's to be part of belonging, right? That's the next chapter is belonging. So here we go. I'm just going to say it. Being queer is not an artistic advantage. It does not enhance creativity or the creation of new life. Being queer is a disability. And I say this in the context of LGBTQ, whatever the alphabet, whatever bullshit, in my opinion. Because it never used to matter to me, but now it does. Now it's personal, because it just keeps. It's like again, opinionated. It's like a cancer, and pride goes before the fall of civilization, the fall of man, as exhibited and supported by the Mouse Utopia experiment. There's just unavoidable truths about our animal existence in our lives. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. Figure it out, right? Well, as I said, it's a disability. While there are many physiological reasons for the behaviors as demonstrated by the existence of intersex people, hermaphrodites, chimeras, neurological disorders, in utero developmental issues, or other genetic anomalies and phenomena, these contributing factors can predispose oneself to such a lifestyle choice that it is exacerbated by traumas and neuroses. 99% of the human species is not born this way. Brutal, ugly, but so correct. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. When men and women fear each other, it removes the opportunity to be vulnerable and free like children. is only natural to want sex and creativity, right? Like I said, art is sexual. It's sexual, right? And creativity can also be a threat display, as again exemplified by one of the chapters in this book, which is body dressing. Right? This is why I include this in the history of propaganda, because of the gay elitism that is pervasive within the art world, because it used to be the only refuge for these people that identify and behave this way, and so then they're very territorial. Hey, everybody's territorial. I got no issues with that. What I got an issue with is the elitism, right? And the amount of shite, absolute fucking shit, that these people produce and then call it art. For this is psychotic, to torture other people. It really is. It really is, and it's just absolute depravity. I don't support it. It's fucking ugly. Not all art is beautiful, but it's just absolutely disgusting. It's esoteric fucking psychobabble, a dog's breakfast on a canvas. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. Artistic creativity is not exclusive to either sex, and sexual play is one of the joys of a relationship. It is, look at India, right? The Kama Sutra, the spirituality and the union. It's unavoidable. Like the conception is worshipped by every single religion. The continuation of life and the fostering of a child's play, because child's play is creativity. And again, the pursuit of so many artists is to preserve the inner child, despite the assault of other people that don't have or are jealous of this capacity, and this adaptedness and this dedication to a craft, that and this again, this hate and this jealousy and this loathing, like extreme negativity, for having taken the risk in the first place. Because that's what it is to be an artist, is to take risks. It's what it is to be a creative person, and what it is to become a billionaire or a millionaire is to find, or an inventor is to find an idea and refine it from its concept all the way, like an engineer, from an idea on a piece of paper, on a napkin, in a garage somewhere, with the free enterprise that fostered the possibility and the glory of the outcome, right? There's always going to be opponents, no matter what. You have to kick at the darkness till it bleeds daylight. You never know when you're going to break through to the other side of life, and when you make it, right? You never know when you're going to make it. And that phrase, fake it till you make it, that's another piece of bullshit advice. You can't just fake it. You either are or you're not, right? You either have that belief in yourself, or you just keep trying to build yourself up until you actually are that person, right? It's unavoidable. You have to put the work in, like I have, like so many other people have. And you can't hate yourself for doing that, because it's so lonely sometimes. And the fear of a relationship, the possibility of being heartbroken, because sexuality and emotion are inextricably connected to each other. I don't want to create a child out of anger, right? Because that the context and the sentiment that follows afterwards is so heavy and so incomprehensibly difficult to unpack and deal with, and then move forward from it. You know, and you can't just change your body, right? You can't just change your body to suit your mind's eye. You have to accept the flesh and the skin that you're in, right? Because we're not created equal. We're not. You know, only in the eyes of God, right? Because again, creativity is divine. To create is divine, and it worships the creator, right? Not in an occultist, gluttonous way. You know, the disgusting way, this oozing, you know, Borg-ish mass of organic matter, right? The body horror, just, you know, like The Color Out of Space, where everything just melts into each other, and some people want that, the hive mind fucking mentality, and it's just so disgusting. I am so revolted by the concept. You know, this is why I don't support such mass immigration, because, you know, creativity is what becomes the expression of culture. And that's why good fences make for good neighbors, and multiculturalism is a fucking failure, because we become this gray-brown nightmare, and then it just, you know, in the middle of that nightmare, yes, there's glimmers of hope, and there's, you know, this luster that survives and becomes legendary, but it becomes even more rare in the trash heap and the refuse of the unintelligent and the unobservant and the uninitiated uninitiated to what is intrinsically and objectively beautiful, not out of aesthetics, but out of recognition of rarity, and of, you know, the not just of rarity, but of, you know, the inexplicable anomaly as to why something exists in the first place. It's like finding a relic. Like, how did this survive, right? All these years, from 1,000 years ago, how did this papyrus still have writing on it from that time period? You know, how did it not get lost in the sands of time? You know, and it's creativity that drives humanity forward, and that's why, you know, we desire it, is because of the novelty factor. And so this is how I'm saying these things in complement to what Charlotte has to say. But, you know, again, I don't like these clients, but, you know, they don't like themselves, and that's part of the reason why they're in therapy, right? Is to resolve the inner conflicts, and to exercise these inner demons and these neuroses, to complete the journey towards self-actualization, and to become a better person, instead of blaming the society and other people and institutions, or your inadequacies and your failures and all these other barriers towards excellence. You know, and finally, I'm gonna, you know, I was talking about how I want children at the beginning of this, and here it is. You know, I feel such ecstasy upon completion of a piece of art. I never thought that I would have children, or that I would desire them. I was always afraid of having children, to be honest with you, because it's like, well, it's a huge amount of responsibility, and, you know, and when you're young, especially in this society where we don't support young people, especially young women, you know, the feminist movement changed from, you know, empowerment to enslavement to freedom, because, you know, too much liberalism leads to slavery. It's a reality. It hasn't changed since, well, it was Plato, right? I'll look this up. Excuse me. Yeah, it was Plato. Yeah, the fruit of too much liberty is slavery. The excesses of liberty passes into excesses of slavery, which is absolutely true, right? When we're free to do anything, then we'll enslave each other. Because there's no laws, there's no rules stopping or agreements. You know, the social contract that is the basis of the Leviathan. You know, again, don't hate me because I've done so much work to myself. Hate me because I'm right and because you cannot, you can't face the music. You're gonna have to get over that. No matter how you feel, you gotta face the music, and then play that tune, and learn it and get over it. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. I will not apologize for the things that I've learned and the wisdom that I've gained in my journey. I won't. Anyway, and as a comment on the previous chapters, right? She's talking about freedom. The freedom that I had in my younger years, freedoms that I had in my younger years are becoming restrictive and eliminate life experience that I felt undeserving or unworthy due to a nihilistic heavy burden, as if I were Atlas. You know, this with the savior complex, as if I was the only one in my life that could do what I want to do, and that, you know, anxiety over people wanting to destroy the things that I create. And I still feel that now. You know, I have great concern that my art will be destroyed after I die. I do. I really do. I have attachment to them because, like I said, they're like my children. They really are. Because I don't have any as of this moment in 2023. And, you know, I feel guilt and I feel shame for not having set my life up in previous to, you know, to have children, because, you know, I've had so many other challenges that, and then, you know, I've been fighting these institutions in asymmetrical ways to, again, you bring up the mirror in front of Medusa. Here you go. This is what you look like. You know, you're the monster that you didn't expect to become. You know, the shame of failure, the addiction to self-destruction, the beautiful letdown, a misguided self-sacrifice, you know, the martyrdom syndrome, not the savior. Yeah, I'm a martyr of my own life, and that's the only reason why people are going to give a shit about me. Dancing with oblivion, you know, staring into the void, and like that comfort in depression, right? The melancholy, because at least you're feeling something. You know, what does it matter if you move on from that? But that gets old after a while. The escapism, it gets seriously tiring. You know, it's insane. You know, you're just to oblivion. You're not doing anything to change, and that's that. And so to finish this off, chapter 7, you know, if all of you hate me, you know, that's a sentiment. If all of you hate me, watch me rot and die, right? Watch me destroy everything that was beautiful about myself. You know, watch me sell myself out to corporatism and so on and so forth, and to eliminate the creativity in myself so that I have a reason to hate myself further. We only get one chance. Life is not a video game. So it's best to be creative. You just never know when it's going to happen. When you're going to create your masterpiece. And I want to live long enough in order to see the next one. We'll see you in the next chapter, maybe two chapters after this. Thanks for listening.